Good evening. Welcome to all councillors. For the F&GP meeting, we've got a fairly mild agenda, so I think we can make up a little bit of time as we have started a little bit late. But obviously, the main things that we need to go through tonight are some of the grants that obviously certain organisations have applied for. But before that, I can confirm that the meeting is being streamed live via YouTube. I would like to remind everybody that this meeting is conducted in accordance with our standing orders. And please, could you check your phones?
I don't know what happened there. Sorry.
I would like to point out that the normal fire procedure, most of you know by now, but we should go through it again, is leave by the way you came in, through the front door, and the assembly point is outside the takeaway Chinese. Can I ask if all councillors confirm they have received the documentation for tonight's meeting, the agenda items and all the papers concerned? Thank you very much. And can I please also remind all councillors that the correct etiquette for voting is to raise your hand. Right, let's start with number one, public question time. No public asked to speak?
None.
Thank you. Apologies for absence.
Apologies received from Councillors Watkins, Cole and Vickers.
Thank you. Now, does anybody want to declare any declaration of interest in any of the agenda items? Councillor Moore. Thank you. Chairman's report is the next item, number 4. There's nothing that I need to report. Moving on to item 5, the Executive Officer's report.
Just to note that the year-end internal audit with Mulberry Local Authority Services is booked in 7th May 2026.
Thank you. Correspondence.
None.
Item number 7, minutes. This is just to note that the minutes of the F&GP were held on the 18th of February. That was approved at the last full council meeting. However, on item 2, are there any matters arising from these previous minutes? None? Okay, thank you.
Apologies, Mr. Chairman. Just under correspondence, I did circulate Section 106 and seal reports ahead of this meeting. Just note that.
Thank you. Moving on to item 8, accounts. The first part of this is our aged debtors, which is in your pack. This is just to note that this is the sales ledger list as of the 31st of March 2026. Item 2 is the bank reconciliation. Councillor Brown, I think you've just recently signed that off. So can I have nominations to approve the bank rec, which is in your pack, as of the 31st of March 2026. Councillor Moore is approved. Councillor Knott is seconded. Thank you. Can we have a vote now, please? All in favour? Thank you. Moving on to item number 9 is the payment schedule. Again in your pack, and this requires approval. Can I have somebody to approve it, please? Councillor Knott, seconded by Councillor Potts. All those in favour? Unanimous. Moving on to item number 10 is our budget review.
So just to note the report as circulated, key changes from the last review or report is the change in general reserves forecast to year end, looking to be, they're projected to be around £206,549. where our general reserve minimum figure in our policy is £224,000. So really the key thing here is where we are as a council below the minimum level set in our policy, the council just needs to make sure it budgets accordingly in 27-28 budget setting process to recover the general reserves position back to the adopted policy set minimum requirement. No further notes unless there's any questions.
Thank you. Any question on the budget? Okay, moving on to item number 11. Again, your pack, bank accounts. There's a full report on all the accounts in your pack. Justin, do you want to make any comments on that?
On the bank accounts, no further comments.
Any questions? Thank you. Moving on to item number 12, investments and savings with regards to the Flexstone platform. Again, anything you want to?
No further comments outside of what's in the report. Just that we will continue to, as balances mature, we'll continue to proceed as we have done the last year to seek out optimal level of return for money whilst balancing that with council's financial commitments and cash flow.
Any questions on the Flagstone platform and the information? No? Thank you. Moving swiftly on to item number 13, grant applications. You notice from your pack there's a lot of information. We have 3 grant applications, and some of them have several pages, and I'm sure you've read every single page. But first of all, in order, let's speak about the first one is the Southwater Village Hall Preschool Charity.
Can we just point out that there is a budget of £3,000 for the year, but we have two tranches of grants. So we'll have this one, and then there'll be another one later in the year. And there's also another £700 in earmarked reserves. So it's just to give you an idea of that's, the amount we've got to spend.
Is there 3,000 in there at the moment?
Yes.
There is. So there's an additional 700 in earmarked reserve that could come across.
Yes. But obviously we'll probably have grant applications in October, November? October.
Thank you, Councillor Moore. Southwater Village Hall Preschool Charity. Quite a lot of information in your pack. For those who haven't quite gone through it, it's pages 35 to 58. And basically, they're asking for £500 to waterproof and shade the shelter outside for the children so they can use it in all weathers. Has anybody got any questions they would like to ask or discuss?
Mr. Chairman, when was the last time we made any grant awards to Southwood?
Let me just load that spreadsheet
I
up.
think it was nearly 2 years ago.
2 years ago. I think it was for their outside classroom.
It's 2 years ago.
Yes, it was 2 years ago.
Obviously, this is
The children, or some of the children of Southwater, it's local. They're looking for £500. There's a complete breakdown of how this money would be spent and who's doing the work.
Well, we're just wondering potential sources. Range from charitable work, and I can see no objection to
Please can you?
Yes, I've been up there quite often, and it really is a lovely play school or a pre-play school, and the equipment is always part of it. It always looks well attended as well, and it's it serves the people of Southwater. Yeah.
Councillor Briley.
Yeah, just obviously it's a charitable organisation. It's not there to make a profit, and it is serving the village. So I'd like to support the full grant.
I'll second that.
So Councillor Briley has proposed the full amount, and Councillor Moore has seconded it. All those in favour? Unanimous.
Thank you. The second grant application is in reference to Holy Innocents Church, and this is to,
My understanding it's to repair the angled sill surface and paintwork which perhaps needs re-repairing.
Mr.
Councillor
Chairman,
Moore, would you like to-
as you know, I've got an interest in this, so therefore I will have to exclude myself from any discussion and vote. But what I could do is just give you an overview, and Julie Fowler will still be here if when I leave. As you probably will have known, we had our 175th anniversary last year, so it's an old bit of the village, as it were. The paint has started peeling from the walls, and a specialist has and surveyors have examined the cause, and the cause is, they believe, an incorrect paint used some time ago, possibly over 100 years ago. And what's happened is that with other paints going on top, the paint has started to lift off. Now that means it's not just a case of redecoration. They've got to remove all of the paint, but they can't do it without being sympathetic to the building, because it's a Grade 2 listed building. So therefore the costs are that much more. Unfortunately, the government have changed their grant schemes for historic places of worship. It still continues, but they now exclude certain factors, VAT and other parts of it. The other applications have gone in for grants of this work, but in general, it's usually the congregation that have to support and upkeep, maintain the building. So on that note, I will leave unless anybody else has any other questions.
Thank you, Councillor Moore. Does anybody have any questions or any items from the pack that they need clarification on? I think the actual correct terminology is redecoration of the chancel. Now, the amount asked for is £1,000.
Shall I now,
Does he need to?
if anybody has any...
Yes.
yes, please.
I think my concern is the amount they're asking. I wouldn't want to give them as much as that if we are thinking, because of the amount we are actually holding in this budget. I would be looking at nearer half of what they've asked for. But it's whether they could obviously raise the rest of the funds.
Yeah, I was
Councillor
going to
Knott?
say, sorry, I was going to say something similar. I mean, obviously they are approaching other people. This is the first round of grants that we're doing. And obviously we've got another one, which is, I think it's, we should do something, but I also think there could be other things that come up now and also in October that might benefit more residents of Southwater. Not that this doesn't, but, and obviously it's a lovely church, so I just think it's a lot of money. If we did that, we'd kind of be using half our budget before we even got anywhere, and.
Councillor French.
Is with the building and everything, isn't there? I mean, there's probably quite a lot of pots that they can endeavour to get money from, like the heritage and places like that. And I quite agree. I think it's a big chunk out of our pot for one grant.
Sorry, I was just
Councillor
going to say, sorry, I do remember, I think they approached us previously for something, and if I remember rightly, we couldn't do anything because they'd started the works. Somebody might remember that one, but I'm sure they asked for some money before, and we sort of couldn't do anything because it was to do with a roof or something that had been repaired. And I think our grant says that it has to be something that hasn't started yet, I think. That is correct, isn't it? So I think we couldn't do it before, so I think we should do something. It's not all of it.
So is the general view we do support this application, however, it's just a question of how much we donate towards it. Can I have a suggestion, please?
Can I propose that we grant them £500?
I'm happy to
£500.
second that.
Can I have a seconder? Councillor Knott just seconded it.
All those in favour?
Thank you. Just to confirm, so that's £500 we've agreed towards this repair work. Thank you.
Now, our third application.
How long were you even out there for?
Thank you. Our third application is, there's a lot of paperwork on this, a lot of backup information, pages 83 to 148, and this is from Horsham Matters. And this is reference to the food bank parcels that they donate to the Southwater residents, but to relocate the food bank centre, which is, I think, in one of the church rooms, and it's doesn't actually say where it can be relocated to, but I suspect it's going to be relocated somewhere else in Southwater. And they've asked for £3,000, which is obviously a huge amount and a large, in fact, nearly all our budget. So perhaps we could have some input now from the councillors on what their views are on this.
I had some contact with Horsham Matters earlier in the year when we were looking at our budget, and it was quite an eye-opener as to how many local people used the food bank. And I think during a cost of living crisis that's getting worse, I think it's something we need to give consideration to. However, we can't fund all of it. But this is something that will directly benefit those in the community that are most in need. And the feedback at the time when I reached out to them was that where it was placed was not supporting the whole of the village.
Yes, I saw the comments in there, I think from a resident, that it's difficult to get to and park, etc. So they definitely need to move it. So just to reiterate, this grant is not for Horsham Matters' normal day-to-day work. This is for actual towards helping them relocate to a better location in Southwater.
Sorry.
So I was going to say, to add to that. Apologies, thank you. Yeah, to add to that, I noticed in the paper a lot of people are still using Horsham Matters, but within Horsham instead, wasn't it, or something? So there is a worry that you're just not using it effectively when we could do. Supporting it, I think.
I was speaking to a member of the office who came up with a suggestion, a very good suggestion, that as well as if we obviously decide to offer them a financial grant, but if we could maybe talk to them about using the room, one of the rooms here. I mean, it's not a promise, it's not a, but it would be something that I would really favour if we could support something like that. Obviously, of course, more work for the office staff, but, you know, that's not our worry as councillor. Sorry, office staff.
Yes, it's
But
you're
to
referring
me-
to the community room.
Yes, the community room. If there's something that can be done inside of a financial grant, something as well.
Yes, if you look on page 85, they say we would use the funds to locate and set up and run another food bank in Southwater, involving staff time and obtaining the food. The grant would also cover the cost of buying the food. Yes, whether or not, one of the things that I'm aware of food banks, people are often conscious of being in public places when they go to venues to collect food. And of course, I think there's a certain amount of embarrassment sometimes. So I think it's worth working with Horsham Matters to find out what their ideal space would be. It does seem a pity if there is available space somewhere. It's whether or not it's suitable and it can be made available to them. But as you quite rightly said, you know, the cost of living is going to increase over the next months, year, or whatever, and it's important that facilities like these have the support to provide food for those that are struggling.
Thank you, Councillor Moore. Can I just ask Executive Officer if it's practical for us to use the community room for this purpose?
I think it would require discussion with Horsham Matters to actually understand what they require as to whether it is suitable, but something we can have a conversation in terms of feasibility.
I might be wrong, but I'm pretty certain that we had food bank upstairs, or we had something upstairs at some point. I know the youth club are doing something, don't they? And actually they were saying that it was, apart from, I think that's why it was moved, because it was difficult, because it was up here, and because of getting up and down and having the code given out and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure there was...
It was prior to us having, it was pre-COVID, so it was before the code was installed.
Oh, fine. So they were just wandering up and down, okay.
And there was also the concern that there was just food left out.
Well, that's what I
and
thought there was,
people
there was a reason
some
behind
people
it, wasn't
were
it?
taking it, handling it. It just, you know, although it was, eventually it's now operating from the church room on, I think, the second Saturday, which is like a community fridge. And that's how that has moved on. And that seems to work well.
Councillor Briley.
Yeah, I believe now quite often it's food parcels, so I believe it's the collection of a parcel, so we're not going to have, you know, food laid out per se. It will be packaged up for someone to come in and collect, so I think it would be a much easier operation logistically.
Councillor French.
Thinking about the dinosaur room, because I don't know what else to call it. I mean, would they need to, do they bring it in on the day, or do they have to have storage for it as well?
I think this is where we need to, myself and Assistant Executive Officer, just need to have a chat through the viability and feasibility of what space could work for them and how they would utilise it at frequency and whether it works with the other tenants in the building. But there's certainly some possibilities there.
Because the other thing is that, I think you mentioned before about people being slightly embarrassed about having to go and get the stuff. If they're coming to a place where there's already the library and other businesses and they can just put it in a bag, it takes some of the stigma out of it, and they've got the parking here. So if it would work, it would be brilliant.
No, I think that's a good point. I think So we have the two issues we hear is the practicality of moving it here and using that community room, and the other side of it is donating a sum of money if we are agreed that that's the best we could do. I mean, having that free space, having it free, which is what I assume we were going to, the community would be, offer that and do that free of charge, may be of quite a lot of use to them, or any organisation actually, but certainly for Horsham Matters. So am I right in thinking that we have agreed that we look at the practicalities of using the community room with the view of offering that to Horsham Matters at free of charge? And secondly, we just now need to, could I have somebody who think the amount of money we should donate?
Mr. Chairman, the item under consideration is the grant. It's not to approve free use of a space. Just for clarity, we need to bring that back to another council meeting or committee meeting.
Okay, thank you. So can I have an idea of a sum of money that we think we should donate to Horsham Matters?
Yes, if I could propose that we give consideration to some of the reserves that were mentioned at the start. We have had a significant increase in the precept, so I think that this would help those families that are most in need and those that unfortunately, because of cost of living crisis, will be pushed over the edge. So I'd like to propose if we went with the £500 grant plus some of the reserves that are in the fund. Amount to be determined.
Councillor Brown.
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I would like to see us give them at least £1,000. So it'd nearly clear out the earmark reserves as well. Because we may not get any more grant applications in October, we don't know, so that would build up the earmark reserves for the following year. But, yeah.
Just a reminder of the amount of money we have in the budget and plus the reserves. So with this proposal, it would leave us less money for when we get together again in October to review the other tranche of grant applications.
Yes, I was going to ask, what's in the earmarked reserves? Because obviously we've already agreed this evening £1,000, so that leaves us 2,000 of our normal pot plus what's in the earmarked reserves again?
700.
700.
So that would leave...
That would still leave us...
1,700
wouldn't it?
for
I
next.
think if we
So-
did, if we used the earmarked reserves plus top up from...
Well, as Councillor Briley proposed, Councillor Briley, did you propose £1,000 in total? Because if it's coming out of the reserve, it will. Yes.
Councillor Brown that proposed it. I'd be happy to support that as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should we vote on?
So the proposal is, just for clarification, is that in total it will be £1,000, which we've agreed, and £500 of that £1,000 will come out of our reserves.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
And I have a seconder for that, please.
I'd like to make another point, because we basically...
Councillor Cole, please could you put your microphone
I
on?
couldn't, because everybody was on.
Sorry.
I just can't. You are? Yeah, sorry.
Thank you, Councillor Cole.
We have a rule about how frequently we can make grants to out of the grants, and so we are looking at a figure now, but what will happen next year or next year and so on, and we have to consider how this will be financed in the longer term, because we clearly can't, with the rules as they stand, we can't just pay out every time. I think that's true, isn't it?
Yes, so in the adopted grant policy, an organisation can only apply once a year. But this is the first time Horsham Matters
That's what I was going to say.
in the
They
last
haven't
5
asked
years.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think they've applied to us for money before. Horsham Matters.
Not in the last 5-6 years.
No, that's what I thought. So it's not like they've come to us before. So yeah, I think we should we should go with that.
We had a proposer and a
Cole for pointing that out. But we have a proposer and a seconder. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you.
Sorry, would it be possible that if the office do manage to make some contact, that we're given an update on if possibly we can work with them? Because it would be wonderful if we could. Thank you.
What we'll do is we'll start discussions and see what viability looks like, and we can provide updates to the committee by email.
Thank you.
Thank you. So moving on to item number 14 on the agenda, policies and other related documents. There are two policies to review. Both are actually existing policies but required amendment. Justin, did you want to say a few words on these policies?
Hopefully they're self-explanatory. I should point out that the lone worker policy currently requires the F&GP committee to review review it. But I think going forward, you'll see the change is it will be the HR committee, it's a better fit because HR committee deals with the HR related policies. But hopefully the changes are self-explanatory, in-track changes, and likewise for the next item as well.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions on policy 1, the lone worker policy?
I propose we accept the amendments on the...
Councillor Moore, thank you. So have a seconder, please. Councillor Knott. All those in favour? Thank you. Unanimous. And on the second policy, data and information register, again, this just has been amended. Has anybody got any queries or questions to ask on this policy? Can I have a proposer, please? Proposed by Councillor Brearley, seconded by Councillor Moore. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. Moving on to item number 15 is our operational report. There's lots of pictures that show there of pathways and bus stops and signage, all good improvements for the community. I think in particular the new pathway that's gone into the bus stop at the end of Cripplegate Lane and near Nutter Lane, for me anyway, it's excellent. It looks really good. Perhaps Councillor Brown, you could confirm as you live in that area that it's done the job.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm very looking forward to the wildflowers that are going to be growing there.
Okay. Justin, is there anything you'd like to add to the operational report?
I think just to note in the Senior Operations Officer's report, this week she has met with both of the contractors, New Timber and Green Edge, with their respective grounds maintenance contracts, and has been having regular updates and contact with them most days. So starting off the contracts well, we'll keep monitoring them to make sure work is being carried out as per the work specification. There's further additional work that looks to be required at the Downslink play area to get it up to a suitable standard for, so the contractor is going to be providing us a quote for some ad hoc works in addition to what is in the specification of the contract, just because the starting point is not where it was when we went to tender.
We have earmark reserved for that, which are actually designated.
For Downslink play area, yes.
Thank you.
Outside of that, I think the report covers the key items.
Any questions on the report? Okay, thank you. That leaves now obviously the date of the next meeting, which will be on the 17th of June 2026. But the meeting will start earlier. The meeting will start at 6 o'clock, something to do with football, I think. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, it could be.
So
I think that's what I announced at the last meeting, so yes.
So thank you all very much.
Meeting end time 7.